Hello everyone. Continuing the project cycle series, till now we have discussed in brief about project cycle and its 5 stages. In today's video, we are going to discuss about problem scoping, which is the first stage in AI project cycle. In this video, we are going to focus upon first, what is problem scoping, importance of problem scoping, 4 W's of problem scoping, problem statement template, and using problem statement template. So first of all, what is problem scoping? So problem scoping is all about identifying and understanding problems, which can be big or small, so that the problem can be solved. Or we can define problem scoping as problem scoping refers to understanding a problem and finding out various factors which affect the problem. Problem scoping also defines the goal or aim of the project. A lot of times we are unable to observe any problems in our surroundings. In that case, we can take a look at the Sustainable Development Goals. The 17 goals have been announced by United Nations, which are termed as Sustainable Development Goals. The aim is to achieve these goals by the end of 2030. A pledge to do so have been taken by all the members of the UN. So if the question comes in exam like which countries have taken oath to complete these SDGs, then you can answer like all the member nations of United Nations. And how many countries are there in UN? Total of 193 countries are with United Nations. We have created another video on SDGs in detail, and the link will be provided in the description for the same. Okay, let's continue. As I said, problem scoping is the first and elementary stage of project cycle. If this stage is not performed correctly, then the whole project will be a total fail. But the question which arises here is why? So let's take an example to understand this. Suppose you are a builder and you are given a contract to create an apartment on a piece of land. The first thing you will do is to check the land, understand the budget and the requirements of the client, which in AI terminology is called problem scoping or understanding the problem. But what if certain parameters like the requirements of the client and budget is not properly analyzed by you? Then can you imagine what will happen when you start making the building? There will be a shortage of resources. And remember that lack of resources will never let you continue a project. This is why problem scoping should be done properly. And guess what? We have a method to do problem scoping in a correct and efficient way. We call this 4 W's of problem scoping or the 4 W's canvas. Let's see what these 4 W's are. These 4 W's stand for who, what, where and why. Sometimes it is difficult to memorize these, and here is a trick for you. If we arrange these 4 by word count, then it will be like who, why, what and where, or why, who, what and where. Now only we are confused at who and why. So here if we take alphabetical manner, then O comes before Y. So who will be at first and we will keep Y at the last. And we already know about what and where. So it will be who, what, where and why. So far so good. So the 4 W's of problem scoping are who, what, where and why. These 4 W's help in identifying and understanding the problem in a better and efficient manner. So let's dig them out one by one. First W is who. The who part helps us in comprehending and categorizing who all are directly affected or indirectly affected with the problem. And these people who are directly or indirectly affected by the problem and can be benefited after the solution are called stakeholders. Remember this term, stakeholders. In this block, we are going to find out who the stakeholders to this problem are and what we know about them. So let's see the second W, that is what. Under the what block, you need to look at what you have on hand. At this stage, you need to determine the nature of the problem. what is the problem, and how do you know that it is a problem. Under this block, you will also gather evidence to prove that problem you have selected, it actually exists. Newspaper articles, media, announcements, etc. are some examples from which you can gather data for proving that this problem actually exists. In simple terms, in this phase, we will look out for a list of problems, then we will try to understand the problem's genuineness from the subject expert and also by collecting the articles in print, television and social media. We are considering subject expert here because, for example, if the problem exists in the field of cybersecurity, then a normal person cannot help us to give data about it. That's why we need to consider a cybersecurity expert, which is the subject expert in this case. Okay, the next W is where. Now that you know who is associated with the problem and what the problem actually is, where part helps us understanding that where does the problem arises, its situation, context and the location. This block will help you look into the situation in which the problem arises, the context of it and the locations where it is prominent. And the last is why. Why tells that why is the given problem worth solving? What are the benefits to the stakeholders after solving the problem? Stakeholder was a person who was affected by the problem. So if the problem is solved, what will be the benefit to the stakeholder? One important thing we should remember here is that these can come as match the following questions or one word questions in exam. So I am giving you keywords which you should learn from here. You can associate who with people affected directly or indirectly by the problem or stakeholders. So whenever you see stakeholders or the people who are affected directly or indirectly by the problem, then you should match it with who. Now, what is associated with the nature of the problem? Whenever you see nature of the problem, just match it with what. Where with the context, location and situation. The why block with why is the problem worth solving or benefits of the solution or benefits to the stakeholder. Okay, before I proceed, ensure that you are clear with 4 W's of problem scoping. Now, we know about these 4 W's and we can use them in problem scoping. But the question is how? For this, we can create a template using these 4 W's, which will help us in problem scoping. This summary or template of these 4 W's is called problem statement template. So, this problem statement template explains all the key points in a single template. And guess what? You can use this statement template again if same type of problem arises in future and resolve it easily. This is how the problem statement template looks like. Don't worry. To understand this, let's take a problem. And create template on it. You can see the topics listed by CBSE on which we can solve the problems, or we can refer the 17 SDGs. Let's take the agriculture theme. Here we can have the problem like what is a good time for seeding. And now let's fill the template one by one. So first, who are the stakeholders or who are affected by the problem? In this we can write the farmers, the laborers or the producers of fertilizer. Then under what block we can write the problem is determine what will be a good time for seeding. Then under where block we can write farmers want right time for sowing seed in field. And the ideal solution and benefits would be produce and supply on time. We are done with problem scoping now, but it will be actually completed after you practice questions on it. We will be posting a link for practicing this concept in the description. Wait, what about the data for problem scoping? Let's talk about data acquisition in our next video. You can get all the notes of this video from aiforkids.in. The link is provided in the description. Till then, stay tuned. Thank you.